this. Alright, let's start with our match breakdown. The match we're choosing today is Kyle O'Reilly, Finn Balor, number 2 from New Year's Evil. Now, basically, the story going into this is that Kyle is going for a rematch against Finn after he broke Finn's jaw. Finn wants to get redemption, so he wants people to stop talking about Kyle breaking his jaw. That's pretty much the start of what their feud's all about and where this match is going for the NXT title. Before the match started, did you guys have anything you want to bring up about their entrances? Because I felt like both entrances, they just kind of just walked out. And it was kind of ordinary. Didn't seem like a big deal. Eric, I talked to you from the moon.
I actually skipped the entrances because when you said we were just watching the match, I felt that was unnecessary time that I really didn't need to have. I just wanted to see what the in-ring action was. I mean, but they did just walk out. They did a typical NXT introduction. I mean, it was not something that I really took any notes with. I mean, one of my
you didn't watch it. You said you didn't watch it. So how would you take notes?
No, so Marcus, when I say I didn't watch it, you told me I needed to review the show. So I didn't pay as much attention to it as I did the actual match. I mean, it was on in the background, but I wasn't with my full focal attention on that. I mean, the first thing I noticed is that they had the same color tights on. I know Finn has different color tights. I don't know why they had to both wear all black, but I mean, that could just be my own personal gripe. Manny, what about you? Did you enjoy the entrances?
Well, the entrances were what they were. So they're just basically TV entrances. It's not like you were getting any of their special... Not that they've had any special NXT takeover entrances in a while.
No, I believe they had a band for EO at one point. And
Yeah, but I think that was just because Poppy was on the show and they wanted Poppy to play her to the ring. I mean, and then whoever played Damien Priest out once, but they normally reserve those for takeover mostly.
Yeah. So I consider this more like a takeover event that was just on TV, especially since this match was going to be commercial free after the entrances. That's kind of where I started the match. When it was like, oh, they're doing the entrances, no more commercials. I thought that was a good plus. So anyway, they start the match by doing a filling out process. Kyle O'Reilly ends up biting the top of the rope, and then Finn Balor kicks the rope and then fractures or injures Kyle O'Reilly's jaw. That's pretty much where he sets up the most of the match. What did you guys think of that first start of like him biting the rope and kicking him and all that stuff? Manny, I go to you.
Well, you raised a good point on the show last week where you alluded to Cody Rhodes doing the exact same spot a few weeks ago, and I thought it was a really good spot, and then it allowed Finn to focus more on the jaw afterwards. Prior to that spot, after that spot is. He then zeroed in and focused on it.
Yeah. Eric?
So, I know you want me to talk about that spot, but before I get to that spot, I need to point out that what I thought this match really excelled at was at its pacing. It was a very good pace to start the match off where both men were trying to feel each other out, where they were grappling, stuff like that. I mean, the announcers pointed out that one of my favorite things, I think it was Bear, who said, like, you know, you have plans going into these matches, and sometimes you have to go to plan C, and that possibly was what Kyle O'Reilly was doing when he started to focus his attack onto Finn's arm. As for the mouth spot, I mean, I have been removed from wrestling for a while because everybody knows I was on my hiatus. I didn't know that it was a growing trend of putting your mouth onto the ropes, which I think is ridiculous. However, I felt that this spot was really a great transition to the next part of that match. It was telling an awesome story because now Finn had a weak point to focus on when he fought Kyle O'Reilly in the match, and it also paid off in the conclusion of the match because of his jaw.
Yeah, I thought it was unique that, you know, because I don't know how many matches where they decide to focus the attack on someone's jaw or the mouth. It's normally an arm or a leg or a back or something like that, or even a neck. Or somewhere around that way. No one actually ever goes and like says, hey, I'm going to just focus on this guy's jaw and see where that goes. And that pretty much set the stage of the match of Kyle's going to have an injured jaw the entire match. What I didn't like... Oh, go ahead.
Well, they also referenced at the beginning of the match how Finn hasn't had a match for like 3 months. And he may be feeling a little bit rusty, and this should play into Kyle's kind of game plan. And you also saw Finn feeling out his own jaw, like at certain points in this match as well, when in the early beginning of it.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense at this point that Finn would want to break his jaw since Kyle broke his jaw.
Yeah.
And, it kind of flowed with a story-wise.
Yeah, the commentary brought up how this was the receipt that Balor was talking about doing. And, I like when sequel matches build upon their previous match. Like, that's what this match kind of established, because you have a lot of Balor, like you guys said, rubbing his jaw, talking about how this motherfucker broke my jaw, or whatever the case may be. And Kyle getting that receipt. I really like that aspect. I didn't really care for the doctor checking on Kyle in the corner. I feel like that's kind of slowed down everything. The ref didn't go over there, and he just goes to check on him, and like Finn Balor, just continue the match.
It did feel like it took away from it, because it wasn't like the last match where they didn't have any real stoppages.
Yeah. Eric, what do you feel about the doctor part of this?
Well, see, I think this is one of those things that has been... hold on, my microphone is falling. It's one of those things that has been really overused in wrestling, in my opinion, where you have the referee or even the doctor going to check on somebody. But I think for the purpose of telling this story of how this has been something that has not been done in the WWE ring before, where someone's mouth has been on the rope and then they kick it, it kind of gave it to that whole spontaneity that this might be a shoot, or it might be more legit than what it gives off. So for this particular match, I was okay with it.
I was just not okay with the ref not doing it, because, they made this feel like a MMA fight or a fight in general. And in a real fight, like in MMA, the ref has to call for the doctor, or he has to clear it with the doctor that he's okay. Kind of like Kyle O'Reilly just pushed the doctor away and was like, let's get back into the match. So that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah.
It's like there's no like clarification. Is he okay or not? And should he be competing? Well, anyway. The next set of moves, Kyle plans to work on Balor's arm. He does this like arm drag slam. I don't honestly know what that move's called, but I think you guys remember when he just grabs the arm and Finn just falls to the shoulder. He continues to work the arm. Balor comes back and continues to attack Kyle O'Reilly's jaw. Finn does leg stops on the jaw, but making up with a low drop kick also on the jaw. Finn's entire attack was on the jaw at this point. And I really like that they both picked their body parts of the arm and the jaw right off the bat. That it wasn't confusing. That every time, everybody's attack seemed to make sense in that way. In which it was like, I'm going to work on the arm, and I'm going to just kick it. I'm going to grab it. Or Finn is just, I'm just going to punch you in the jaw, or I'm going to put you in like a crossface or something like that. So I really like that aspect of it, that they went back and forth in those attacks. You guys have anything to add on that?
I would like to say what I really enjoyed about this match, and it comes down to, we got receipts for everything that they gave us in this match. So Kyle was working on the arm for Finn, and it's like, oh man, where's he going with his arm? Because we don't know if Kyle has any arm moves. When you get into that arm bar where he's trying to put the arm bar on his good arm, and Finn is, no, it's his bad arm, but Finn is blocking it. And then he's like, oh, F this. I'm going to the other arm, which I haven't worked on that much. But because I worked on the other arm, he's not able to block this arm bar. I was like, oh, that is genius right there. I really like that. And then at the end, from the mouth spot where Kyle's jaw got hurt.
You jumped ahead a lot. Oh, good. Huh? You jumped ahead a lot.
No, well, I'm talking about the receipts. Like at the end of the match where he beats him with a crossface. I think that's amazing. I was like, I really enjoyed the ending of that match and the production.
So we're done. You went through the whole match.
Far ahead.
Yeah, you jumped to the end. You're like, oh, it was a great finish. And I'm like, man, I haven't even got to the middle. I'm like about to go to the middle.
Well, this is a work in progress, my brother. I'm sorry. I got excited.
I was like, brother, you were like, oh yeah, they're doing the jaw, and I like the attacks. I was like, you got to add. I just want to add one thing. And I was like, oh, you jumped to the finish. No, I'm not. And then they go for the orb submission, and that's over. And I'm like, what?
You prematurely ejaculated your review.
Things happen, man.
Yeah, it was like, oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm going to tell you my favorite spot of the match was in between. Is when Kyle O'Reilly has Finn down, and he's going through like 20 different submissions. It seems like, I don't actually have a number, but he goes into like an ankle lock, to an arm bar, to another ankle lock, to another like arm bar, and he kept like just rotating submissions every time Finn was countering, and the only way Finn got out of it was kicking him in the jaw. Manny, what did you think of the spot of Kyle O'Reilly really just transitioning to like every submission he knows?
I thought that was really good. I thought the transition game from Kyle was really good, and the actual you could actually see the interworkings of Finn trying to escape these holds, and the amount of selling these two did during the whole process. Like even with the hold locked in, you'd see Kyle clutch at his jaw at times. You'd see Finn openly feeling the arm, knowing the arm's being worked. So I thought this whole transition period in this match was really, really good.
Yeah, I thought it was because Samoa Joe would do something like this a lot in pretty much almost all his matches when he'd go from Boston Crab to half crab to I can't remember what the Regal always did the submission, whatever that's called.
STF?
The STFU, as John Cena made it famous, and then to the crossface. I liked it when Samoa Joe did it, but I thought this was a better version of that. Eric, what did you think of this? The transition spots.
I thought the transition spots were really good, and I thought what really sold the transition spots were how well the commentators were talking about it. It's nothing better than when the commentators are focused on the match and they're talking about the match. It's like, oh my God, can he really survive this after all the work that performer has put in working on that body part? So I really enjoyed the psychology and the transitions in this match.
Mm-hmm. So we come up to pretty much about the finish of it, in which Finn Balor does, his John Woo dropkick to the corner. They attempt superplex. There's some more arm attacks. There's the eventual arm attack in which he counters, in which Eric talked about. I didn't buy the whole punching his arm that Kyle was doing in the original armbar when he couldn't get the arm. I just felt like he didn't have anything left. They did that in the first match, and it looked better, but this one kind of just looked like he was stretching, going back and forth like that. And I didn't agree with that. So anyway, they get to the finish, and it's kind of out of nowhere. Balor puts him in an abdominal stretch, and then they fall to the ground, and then it becomes a crossface lock kind of move. And Kyle has no choice but to tap because the jaw's been worked on entirely. Manny, what are your thoughts? Since we know Eric's thoughts on the finish, what are your thoughts on the finish of this match?
Well, I remember stating on the show last week you weren't entirely sold on the finish. No. And then I initially thought they probably changed up the finish to sell the injuries. Because obviously I didn't think Finn would be able, if you were selling that injury, Finn wouldn't be able to initially properly get all of the 1916 or properly balance to hit the coup de grace. So I felt like in that kind of sense, you would obviously change up your approach and change it to a submission hold. So I thought that the finish really worked for me.
Okay, so Manny, your initial thought though, you thought Finn was really hurt. Do you think that was the case? Did they change it up because he was hurt, or do you think that he was healthy and they just went that way with the finish? And Eric, you're gonna have the same question.
I think now looking back at it, it's probably that this was going to be the finish overall, but I think they needed to tell the story that Finn's arm was probably messed up, so they did this. They worked this finish instead, because I feel like Finn, that was one thing that was missing from Finn's arsenal of moves, was a submission type finish, and I think applying that now will lead to further times down the line where this could be used.
Okay, Eric.
For me, going into part 2 of this match, I don't think that this match came close to what part 1 did. And it's really hard to follow it with part 1. But what I did enjoy was that I love the fact that these two competitors have faced each other before in that grueling first match, so they would have to make adjustments and different planning and stuff of that situation to how to face their opponent. I thought that the commentators did a great job pointing out that you have to have different plans of attack, different audibles that you might not be able to go in what you thought you were going to be able to do to win this match. And seeing a match in a way that we're not familiar with seeing Finn Balor win, I think that is a plus to give to the more realism of the match overall.
Okay. I didn't like that it was so abrupt. I just felt like it didn't build up to anything. I felt like it was out of nowhere. And it was just an abdominal stretch. And it just ended. It was it looks like the short time. Ring the bell. And I feel like the camera missed the tap. And you don't really see Kyle tapping. which is the only way he can communicate since his jaw's busted. So I was really, it just bugged me. I don't know.
But that's almost how like every real fight ends.
Yeah.
Like it just happens.
And not the camera don't always catch it when the person taps. It's just
I know. I agree.
You have to point out like this match was more of a fight than it was like professional wrestling as we know, because like the match that we're going to compare it to, that was
a different episode.
Being honest, that's a spot fest.
That's a different episode.
Spot fest. This was a fight. This was
realistic. Going on what Eric said, I realistically think this should have been in the fight pit.
Yeah, like in the fight pit, it would have made more. Like it's one of those things where it's like these are two men fighting. You wonder where they're gonna go from here with this match, because like, do we really want a part 3? What could the stakes be? Because both matches they've had is like Finn wants revenge for his jaw being broke, so he's gonna put his title on the line. Like it doesn't make sense for them to touch each other anymore. And even afterwards, like seeing Kyle O'Reilly's mannerisms of being disappointed that he lost. I mean, I really love the aesthetic of this match. The more I talk about it, the more I enjoy it.
So I'm going to bring this down to, or could talk about what you were saying about how the booking of the match of like, should there be a third one? And I think there should be, but I think it has to be some time away. If you tell the story that O'Reilly, needs to fight up to the level of Finn, which is what I got the vibes of the end of the match, in which he's like Kyle O'Reilly sitting there, beaten up, demoralized, can't move his jaw, and you got a bloody Finn Balor literally standing over him, looking like he's 7 feet tall. Like the way they shot it just looked like he was 7 feet tall, standing over a weak Kyle O'Reilly. And Adam Cole like, "Step back, you monster! You killed this man!" Like that's literally how the match ended. And I think if they take some time, and I'm not saying like the next takeover or whatever, but you take some time and you build it up again. It's like this is gonna be the third one. I think it could work. And maybe even if Finn Balor were to lose that title and Kyle O'Reilly would get it from somebody else, in whatever time it be. I don't know how much time they plan on building this. I would go wait until like August or some shit. But and then you get that third one, it's gonna mean any more. Manny, what do you think of the overall booking? Oh, go ahead.
I feel like you can't have Kyle go at Finn so soon, because realistically Kyle's lost twice now, so to have him lose a third time, even though we've seen that in previous times with like in more recent times with Orton and Drew, but I feel like you can't do that in this case where they're having these types of brutal fights and then just to throw Kyle in there again just to get that pop. I feel like you have to move on to the next challenger for Finn, and then hopefully we see Finn versus Kyle down the line.
Yes.
Like for me, I think what you really need to do, I think you need to take the role that New Japan did with Ibushi and gradually build him up through the year. Like Bill O'Reilly back up to the year to when later in the year, maybe at the fourth quarter NXT takeover, then he's challenging him again for the title. I think like we need to have O'Reilly with another meaningful feud before he gets back to Finn again. Like, even if he goes to the moon and fight my boy Cameron Grimes, something to excel him to, like, make him be relevant again. I don't know if being part of the UE is something that he needs to do anymore. It's like the Undisputed Era. It's really, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do with that right now.
So here's my thing about this long-term booking that we were both suggesting and take time to build them up and stuff. We do not know the plans of the parent company of NXT, which is Vince McMahon's Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. For any given day, you could be building Kyle O'Reilly, saying we're going to do this, and all of a sudden, Vince McMahon goes, "I want the entire UE up to the main roster out of nowhere," and it kind of ruins any storyline you're trying to build up, and we never get it. So, do you think that can play a hamper into the storytelling of this?
Yes.
And Manny as well. It's just one answer. Yep. All right.
It's the worst thing about it is because like you really want NXT to be their own brand where you can have people down there for a while, but at the end of the day, the goal I guess is to make it to the main roster. I mean, like you look at someone like a Nakamura. Nakamura could have had such a longer run in NXT doing things amazing than he did before he got to the main roster. I mean, the only NXT jumping that has actually worked has been Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is the only one that has worked out.
Hey, the Street Profits are working. The Street Profits are working.
Well, Marcus, I think you said it on your show. Who cares about tag team wrestling?
I never said that. I'm just saying I don't think.
Oh,
that's
you
a
said
big
that.
thing.
You said that in relation to what we did as a separate.
Yeah.
Video,
Oh, okay.
I like tag team wrestling, Eric, and I think there's a lot of people that like it, but I don't feel like it's like it should be. It's never been the be all end all. No one's ever been like, let me pay attention to tag team wrestling. So let's move on to our star breakdowns, where we go through each category. Again, let me repeat it: story, stipulations, atmosphere, in ring, and hell if it was just fun entertainment. Mostly you can look for R-Truth matches or something like that for that. Like, this is what that was. This is what it was. I can't explain why I like him fighting ninjas. I just liked it. But, so let's start with Eric and story. What did you feel about the story? Did it accomplish what they need? Does it get a star on your thing?
I mean, yes. This rank is going to have these matches getting a lot more stars, and so it's going to be crazy. But yes, I
No,
felt
if
they
you feel like
accomplished their story.
you can always take away a star if you're like, did whatever it is.
No, I felt the story made sense. Both men needed to be in the ring. Ben wanted payback. Kyle O'Reilly wanted to prove himself. It made sense to me.
Manny?
I gave it the star because it followed the story built from the previous match, and it just overall felt like a championship match.
I gave it a star because it felt like a good sequel match. It wasn't as long as the big match. Like, I would have I would like my, saga or whatever they call it, trilogy matches to like build and build and one getting longer and longer. But this one actually told the story of the previous one pretty good. It was just on TV and it was shorter. But other than that, I felt like it built upon everything that was in the other and built on the story. And if they get time, like we said, it can really build up Kyle O'Reilly in time. So I gave it a plus star, whatever we're giving them for these ratings. All right, so the next one I'm going with the stipulation. Did the combatants in the match follow the match stipulation? This was a match scheduled for one fall with 0 time limit to TV time remaining. Did they follow all the stipulations of a basic wrestling match? Eric.
Yes. I don't like this star, but whatever. Yes.
Well, the star it works when wrestlers have to do shortcuts and cheat when they like randomly fight outside the ring, or you're hitting somebody with a weapon and the referee's looking dead at it.
Wrestling. That's a thing to do.
We're talking about like when things just go awry, like when you're watching an AEW tag team match and then someone just stays in the ring and just doesn't adhere to a 5 or 10 count.
Like I said, they get the star, but I would like to call that this is the AEW star right here. This is the star that AEW probably will never get, which is like this. It makes this test culturally biased, and because of the world's
Red
greatest
Shoes
twins,
also.
I know what it means to be culturally biased, discriminated against.
Oh God, Red Shoes also will follow the stipulation in some of his New Japan matches, Eric. I'm just saying, you have a set match. If they didn't follow the guidelines, like let's say if I was in a ladder match and you win the match via cherry picker, I feel like that is a rigged move. That is not fair. That is not fair.
They got my star, Marcus. Move on to Manny. They got my star.
All right. Atmosphere. This is about commentary, production.
Mark, you didn't ask if Manny gave a star for wrestling stipulations. Man.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said moving on. Anyway,
I said
Manny.
move on to Manny because.
Let's go, Manny. Stop saying moving on. You don't get to host the show. Manny?
So it gets a star from me because both adhered to referees' counts. They paid attention to the 5 count, broke holds on 4 instead of holding them on forever. And then the referee did acknowledge and hit a 10 count, unlike another match we're going to review.
Shout out the other match. I enjoyed that they followed the rules, and they actually went above and beyond. They mostly stayed in the ring. They didn't really do anything outside the ring at all, I believe, in this match. This was all in the ropes.
Kyle kind of fell out of the ring.
Yeah, he did the kick and fell out the ring and barely made the 10 count. But it established that the 10 count and the ring matters. That it wasn't just, we got to figure out ways to do our dives and figure out a way to figure out how to hit somebody with a chair. And, whatever the case. Or throw a beer in somebody's face.
Rule, the AEW star.
I'm not talking about anybody. I'm not talking about anybody. This could be MLW for all you know. Okay, I'm not talking bad about anybody. So, moving on. Let's go with the atmosphere. This is about production, commentary, camera work, missing shots, going into the crowd instead of showing what's going on in action, messing up a replay spot or something. You know, weird stuff in production. The lighting is off. The crowd participation. Whatever the case may be. And I'm going to go to Eric. What did you think of the atmosphere overall?
They get another star. I mean, I can't knock them for not having fan interaction because I can't knock them for the set that they have. But I felt that the commentating was one of the best things about this match. And I've raved about this commentating the whole time we've been doing this show because
commentary.
I thought, whatever it is, I thought Vic, Wade, and Beth, who disappeared in some portions of this match, did a really good job of telling me what was going on in the ring.
All right, Manny?
I totally agree. They, as much as the pumped-in audio did work, the commentary sold the story really well in various spots and throughout this match. And overall, the atmosphere did feel like it was a legit championship match.
It made me feel like I was watching UFC. Totally honest. It's like it's like, you know, here's Michael Buffer here. Like, it felt legit. It felt like there was stakes. Like, there's a point that if Finn lost this match, what happens to him next? It's like it felt magical to me.
Magical.
Yeah.
It was like dragon flying through the sky. Dancing on the
twice as high.
I can go twice as high. Take a look.
It's in a book.
Marcus,
how about yourself? How does atmosphere treat you?
So the commentary to me was
it wined and dined him.
I'm afraid that this might not be a star for Marcus because he's still mad about that tapping shot. So that camera shot, this might be. Hold
on. I was like, this was what I grappled with because I was like, there was parts of it that bothered me about this match. I felt like I wanted a big entrance in production from both sides. In the original match, you at least get Kyle O'Reilly walking up to the stage. You get that little atmosphere of him walking up. The ring announcement was whatever. This is Finn. This is Kyle. Let's do the match. Ding ding. I kind of wanted something bigger, and I know this is TV, but I treated this like a takeover in my mind because it was New Year's Evil, and I felt like it was a takeover. I didn't get the vibe of what was going on with that production. And then they missed the tapping spot, and the referee calls the match, and he couldn't match. I wanted to see the tap. You got to show me the tap.
I saw the tap.
They show it at the mid tap. They had to re-tap again. They re-tap.
No, I saw
he
the
re-tap. The ref rings the bell, and then they have to cut away, and they show a re-tap.
Marcus, calm your ramp because we still have another match just to go. Are you giving it a star? Because it doesn't sound like based on everything them getting wrong, you shouldn't get a star. They should not get a star. Are you going to go Dave? Are you about to Dave your own ranking system right now?
I'm not. And then you have Beth Phoenix, who I did not enjoy on commentary at all in this. I enjoyed Vic and Wade, but Beth disappeared for 10 minutes of the match, and then she comes in randomly. You go, oh, shit, you're here.
Considering that you have a host that disappears sometimes because of internet, you should understand what they're dealing with.
No.
You should understand.
Either she's there or not.
How dare you? And you disappear half the time to make a sandwich, so you could shut up.
Today I'm eating oatmeal, damn it.
I expect them to have better production than what we do here on this YouTube channel. Okay?
So you better not give them a star.
It's not about Beth disappearing. Okay? It's about, or, you know, just it's that she just chimed in every now and then, and you just go like, where did you come from? Like, it's Vic Joseph and Wade Barrett's show, and then you get side character Beth Phoenix coming in. Wow, I really like that wrist lock. The hell? So, I did like the shot at the end of Finn standing over at Kyle, though. Like, him standing over, I kind of looked with the blood, and him standing over like, yeah, I'm the man, stay back, and him could not being able to lift the title. But, as you guys expect, I took away the star of atmosphere, if you want to know.
I knew you took away the star.
I took it away. I gave a lot of information why I took it away.
Clearly, Manny and I are on the right side of history right here. That's okay with us. Next star, buddy.
It wasn't bad. I'm just not going to give it the star for all those problems. All right, the next is in-ring. I'm going to let somebody else talk. My mouth is tired. Eric, what do you think of the in-ring work?
Marcus, I've already praised this work. Marcus, I'm giving it a star. I'm gonna take a route of Manny, short and sweet, star.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. It was a really great job of selling the arm, jaw, and liver. We didn't even mention the liver kick again.
Liver kick 2. Liver kick 2 was not as good as liver kick 1. I like liver kick 1 first because it's like, oh.
But yeah, there's no way you could watch this without saying, you know what, this doesn't get the start. There's no way. If you did, I'm gonna come find you and stab you in the face.
Manny, I'll pay for your plane ticket so you can do this. I'll tell you where he's at.
Okay. This in-ring work was trash. Nothing looked good at all. I mean, they were faking it the entire time. No, it's nothing bad you can say about this in-ring work. Everything made logical sense. Like we said earlier, they were going after each other's body parts, arms. They were selling the bejesus out of everything. Everybody did a good job in the ring. It's nothing bad you can say about in the ring. So,
before we move into the final star, what is everyone currently at? What is everyone currently at?
Manny, we're currently at 4 stars. Marcus is at 3 stars.
I'm at 3.
Okay.
I am currently at 3. Overall entertainment, Manny.
So I really enjoyed the match. However, I have to compare it to the first match, and I enjoyed that more. Therefore, I'm not giving it the star.
Oh, dang, the attack!
For me, it's a 4-star match.
And let me point out something, because this is hard for me, because quite frankly, if we were ranking this match on the old scale, this would be a 3-star match hands down for me. It was just a
what was the old scale?
The Dave like a 3-star. It's to me, not our scale, the other scale. It's 3 stars. It's a good match. It ain't nothing special, and quite frankly, I enjoyed the match. But I'm gonna partner with my man from the UK, and I'm not gonna give the star for overall enjoyment because this will not be my first 5-star match. It will not. It's not a 5-star match. It is not. So, for that reason, and as Manny said, the first match was better. That was a 5-star match. This match was fine. I enjoyed it, but it's not 5-star. So, for that reason, they are not getting my star. It's more petty than you and Beth Phoenix, so that they, yes.
Yeah. Can I also say for entertainment, I want to say it's the Wow Factor Award. Like, there's entertainment, and then did it blow you away? Did it blow you out the water? I was impressed with
both. It did not take my $50, and that's for all the haters in the chat room.
There ain't no chat room.
There is no chat room today.
There will be eventually.
In the comment section, and someone's gonna be like, "Ooh, you're a sexy boy." That's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. That's the only person that commented.
Today there was one that said, "I miss my boyfriend," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Good for you. Well, I'm sorry.
He's not here.
Or is he? Is that your side piece, Eric?
I haven't been on the show in a long time, so it ain't me.
So, the overall entertainment factor, I was entertained by the match. I enjoyed the match. They told a good story. But it didn't blow me away. Like, I've seen the first one, and it's 10 more minutes, and I think it's a solid show. I think it's a solid match. So, I'm taking away the entertainment.
3-star. And I feel like the worst part about it, Marcus has the proper rating. This is a 3-star match. But the deck that you gave me makes this a 4-star match because I'm not knocking it for atmosphere. There's nothing I can knock it for but overall enjoyment. It kills me because this would not be my 5-star match. Ugh.
Oh, well, I'm more critical than you. I was more critical. I'm going into the full production and atmosphere, the whole shebang.
Marcus, in production,
you are only giving this.
You're more petty than me. You're more petty. Me is a moral dilemma that I wasn't giving it 5-star. I think the only person who has any credibility or anything is Manny.
Why I lose credibility? How did I lose credibility?
Manny
I gave my objections.
Manny was being objective, and he wasn't making any emotional decisions like I was.
I didn't make.
Why
Marcus,
what emotional? Yeah, what emotional and subjective decisions did I make?
You not because Beth Phoenix disappeared for 10 minutes and come back and say, "Look at that arm bar." That ain't right.
That's
That
a
ain't right.
production issue. If you have a 3-man booth, I expect all 3 people to contribute in an equal fashion. Beth was just a side character that came in out of nowhere. Like, out of nowhere. And it wasn't just for that. You know, they didn't have big interests. It wasn't. It was a big show. The crowd wasn't 100%. The crowd wasn't really hot fire. Like, in the first match, the crowd was hot fire. And they brought it.
So
it's the same
technically,
thing, but they didn't
what
do
you're
it.
telling me, though, because both Manny and I both have 4 stars, this becomes a 4-star match overall. Because you can't average to a 3.5 because we don't do halves.
Oh no, we can average.
We can when you average it, it has to become like that. So it's a 3.67 star match.
And I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that.
I'm not gonna go. Do you guys want to go with like 3.5 instead of like?
No, because then the math's incorrect.
3.67.
He's right.
All right, a 3.67 on a 5-star still.
I'm okay.
That
with
sounds horrible though.
No,
I know that's 5 points, but
average.
yeah. So 3.67, whatever that is, that's what they got. And you know, it's not bad. They had a solid. It was a good match. I enjoyed it.